the X-Men Tornado version 2, and the Worms WRM 2021 Maglev edition. Both these cubes are really similar, so which one should you buy? This video will be an in-depth comparison between these two cubes. So first we're going to be looking at packaging. So the X-Men Tornado comes in this box with this nice card, this box, and the accessories box. It contains an adjustment tool for magnets, spring compression, and screw depth, along with some pamphlets. So the WRM comes in this box, which is much more compact, and it comes in this accessories box that contains a screwdriver, magnet compression tools, and a spring compression tool. The cube comes in this box. So right away we can see that the Tornado V2 had some more fancy packaging, but that doesn't really matter because both these cubes came with basically the same things. And so now let's look at the cubes. So the Tornado V2, it has a really smooth, buttery feeling. And just saying, both these cubes are really quiet. They're probably one of the quietest cubes on the market. This cube is really quiet and soft, and like this, both these cubes are really smooth, but the Tornado V2 is more like a buttery smooth, while the WRM is more of a papery smooth. So this cube is probably one of my favorite cubes by feel. It's so satisfying to turn. It's so buttery smooth, and it's just really satisfying to turn. While this cube over here, it is also really smooth. I think it's slightly louder than the other cube, and it's also smooth, but it's more like an airy, papery smooth, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so I'll let you hear both these cubes again. The Tornado V2. Yeah, so both these cubes are really quiet, and I genuinely enjoy turning both these cubes, and just really satisfying to turn. So for the feel, I really do enjoy the Tornado V2 more. So how are these two cubes really similar? Well, they both come in dark internals. This one comes in purple. They're both approximately the same size. They're about like 0.2 millimeters off. They both have the same customizability. So you could change the screw and the spring compression here. And for this cube, you could also change the screw and the magnet compression, which is basically the same thing. You could also change the magnet strength on both these cubes over here, and they both have 5 settings. The settings on this are a bit stronger, but generally they're both basically the same thing. They also have like the same feel. They're both smooth, and they're both like really amazing to turn. They're both around the same price range. This is $25, this is $30, which makes sense since this has Maglev technology. Without the Maglev, these are both about $25. So corner cutting for both these cubes are pretty good. I heard that some people are saying that the Tornado V2 doesn't have great reverse corner cutting, and they get quite a lot of lookups on this, but for normal corner cutting, it's actually pretty good. It could go just under the line. And the WRM, it could do a bit more than that. No, just about the same, a bit more than that. And so for reverse, the Tornado V2 isn't the best, but it's still decent. It still works for most people. And the WRM, it's quite a bit more than that. It's like almost right under the line. So for lockups, I hardly ever get any on both these cubes, especially the WRM. I do think that WRM catches less. Like when I used to use my GAN 11, it does have this weird catching problem with like the reverse corner cutting. I don't know if I could replicate it right here. But for these two cubes, generally I do have a pretty good time turning them, and it's usually pretty smooth. So next we're going to be looking at customizability. So first, let's look underneath the center caps for a bit. So this cube, instead of having a normal traditional screw, it has this wheel over here, which you could turn with the tool I've shown you before. So with this tool, if you get the right tool, you could turn it clockwise or counterclockwise to change the spring or the screw. So this cube, you could just use a screwdriver for the screw, and there's this little blue cup that you could spin for the spring compression. So this cube has quite a few more settings since the screw has infinite settings and the spring compression has 9, whereas this one only has 5. For magnet adjustment, both these cubes have 5 settings. I think setting 1 for this cube is about setting 3 for this cube, so this cube does have weaker magnets. I don't suggest using settings 1, 2, and 3 for this cube because they are quite weak and they kind of feel like a non-magnetic cube. So now let's look at performance. The Tornado V2 is quite fast but controllable. That's what I really like about this cube, since I prefer fast cubes and I really need them to be controllable to do fast turns. And so this cube, I don't really get too many lockups, and I don't get any corner twists for both this cube and the WRM. It's a bit slower than the WRM, but it's still quite fast. So when I got this, I performed just as well on this cube as my main, the GAN 11M Duo. So the WRM is really fast, and I really prefer fast cubes, but it has to be really controllable. And this cube is just like that. It's really fast but also controllable. So I perform on this cube, I say, just as well, or maybe even better than my current main, which used to be the GAN 11M Duo, but I think I might be switching to this cube. And so if you haven't already guessed, I perform better on this cube than the Tornado V2, but it's not that big of a difference. So I personally think that the WRM is a bit better than the Tornado V2, but it is $5 more, so which cube should you buy? Well, when I did get the Tornado V2 at first, I did say it was my #1 recommendation if you wanted to get a cube, but honestly, the WRM is not that much more expensive, and I think the benefits outweigh the cost. And if you don't want to spend that extra money, you can get the normal version of the WRM, which is, I think, just as cheap as the Tornado V2. So here are my overall thoughts. Both these cubes are excellent cubes, and I perform just as well on these cubes as my main. And I do think the WRM is slightly better, so if you do want to get a cube, I suggest getting the WRM 2021 Maglev edition. But if you do get the Tornado, or if you already have the Tornado, it's not that much of a big deal. I don't suggest upgrading, it's already pretty good. And so that's it for this video, thanks for watching.